Good morning, students. As you all aware of the syllabus that you have in this third BSc Zoology syllabus, that there will be two papers, 5.1 and 5.2. So in 5.2, there will be a chapter called Apiculture. So today I am going to explain you about this chapter, Apiculture. Bees and beekeeping is not new in India and is known since prehistoric times as outlined in our religious literatures. Bees teach us the lesson of work to work and work with cooperation. To produce 1 pound of honey, a bee travels about double the distance of the circumference of the earth's surface. Honeybees are found in all parts of this earth, both in tropical and temperature conditions. They are adapted to live in any climatic conditions. Thus, for honeybees, it is rightly said that whether the weather be cold, whether the weather be hot, we must wither the weather, whether we like it or not. Apiculture is nothing but beekeeping. It is the maintenance of honeybee colonies by humans in order to collect the products like honey, bee wax, propolis, etc. A location where bee colonies are kept is called an apiary or bee yard. Honeybees are highly organized social insects and their systematic position is as follows. They belong to kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Hymenoptera, family Epidae, genus Apis. So one thing you can observe here in this slide is I have not mentioned you the species exactly because the honeybees, they belong to genus, but there are different species of honeybees. Let me just give you a glimpse of some important species of honeybees present across this world. The first one is Apis dorsata, which is called the rock bee, and it is the largest honeybee. It builds a single large open comb on high branches of trees and rocks. So at this juncture, let me clear you one thing, students. Comb is nothing but the house that is being constructed by these worker bees. This rock bee, it produces large quantity of honey, but this bee is difficult to domesticate. Second one is Apis serena indica, which is called the Indian bee. It is a medium-sized bee. The hive consists of several parallel combs in cavities of tree trunks, earthen pots, etc. This bee is also not, it is not so ferocious and it can be easily domesticated because it has a very docile nature. The next species will be Apis florea, which is also commonly called the little bee. It's a very small sized bee. It builds single small combs in bushes, hedges, etc. and the honey yield is very poor. Next one is Apis mellifera, the European bee. It somewhat looks like the Indian bee, that is Apis indica. It has been introduced in many parts of the world including India. It is easily domesticated. Apart from this, there are many other species of honeybees are there. I have not given you the details of such species of honeybees here. Then coming to the castes of the bee colony or the different members of the honeybee hive. A honeybee colony has three castes. They are a queen, a worker and drones. So in this slide you can make out the different castes here. there'll be a drone, there'll be a queen that is there in the middle. It is the largest bee, and on the side there'll be the worker bee. Coming to the first type, queen bee. Queen bee is the only fertile female in the colony, and she is the largest member with reference to the body size. It has no wax glands. It lives for about 3 to 4 years. It may lay eggs at the rate of 1500 to 2000 per day. So it is a egg laying machine only. Second type, drones. Drones are the male members of the colony. Drones can live up to about 60 days. The sting and wax glands are absent here. It develops from unfertilized eggs. The sole duty of drone is to fertilize the virgin queen. So its duty is to eat and mate with the queen. The third one, worker bee. They have well developed sting and hind legs, have pollen basket for collecting pollen. They perform different duties depending upon their age, which are as follows. So starting from day 1 to 14, their activities are restricted inside the hive, such as cleaning the hive, feeding the larvae, etc. From day 14 to 20, they guard the entrance of the hive. They work like a soldier at this time. And from day 21 to 35, they go out of the hive for foraging, that is for the collection of the nectar and pollen from the surrounding areas. Coming to a brief note on life cycle and development. The 7 days old virgin queen goes out of the hive along with some drones for mating. This is called nuptial or marriage flight. Only one drone mate with queen, and she stores spermatophores in her spermatheca. Mating takes place while flying, and after mating the drone dies. However, the queen returns to the hive. The queen has the ability to control the release of the sperms from her spermatheca, which is nothing but a sperm storage or reservoir. So in this picture you can also make out the egg, the larvae, the pupa and adult. So these are the 4 different stages of the life cycle in honeybees. They are egg, larvae, pupae and adults. Morphology of honeybees. The body of honeybees is divided into 3 divisions, that is head, thorax and abdomen. The whole body of honeybee is made up of a series of hardened plates connected by membranes and covered in most regions by a dense pile of hair. The first division, head, it is triangular shaped with mouthparts, eyes, antennae and sensory hair. The second division, thorax, it is the second major division of the body. It bears 3 pairs of walking legs and 2 pairs of wings. The whole thorax is covered with thick hair in workers, thin in drones, and almost bare or hairless in queen. The third division, abdomen, it is the last part of the body. It consists of about 10 segments. The abdomen of the queen is longer and more pointed than that of the worker and drones, which you have already observed in the previous slide. At the tip of the abdomen, there is a sting in worker and queen but absent in drone. So only queen and workers will have the sting or the sting apparatus. So here is the morphology of the diagrammatic view of the morphology of the honeybee. So pertaining to the worker bee, the details are shown here. So as you can make out here, the body has 3 divisions, head, thorax and abdomen. In the head there will be a pair of compound eyes and a pair of simple eyes. and there will be an antennae, a pair of antennae, and mouth with different types of mouth parts. And in the thorax region, you can clearly make out there will be three pairs of legs, or the walking legs. And as I have already mentioned you that this is the photograph of, or the image of a worker bee. So in the third pair of walking leg, you can make out the presence of pollen baskets. And in the abdomen there are no appendages, so it is totally devoid of any kind of appendages. So this is with reference to the morphology of honeybee. Coming to structural adaptations, the first one is with reference to the mouth parts. It is said to be chewing and lapping type, meaning that they can manipulate solid as well as lap up liquids. It consists of a pair of mandibles, a proboscis or tongue, maxillae, and labium, or what is otherwise known as lower lip. Mandibles are strong spoon-shaped structure attached with powerful muscles to the head and perform numerous functions in the workers such as ingesting pollen for food, cutting, shaping and manipulating wax and propolis, feeding brood food to the larvae and nectar to the queen, dragging debris and dead bees out of the nest, grooming and fighting. So it does many functions. Proboscis is more complicated structure which has the main function of ingestion of liquid materials like nectar, honey and water. It also helps in exchange of food between workers as well as between workers and queen, workers and drones. It is also used to lick pheromones from the queen and exchange them with other workers. So one thing I would like to clear here is that pheromones are the volatile chemical substances that are emitted by queen, and by releasing these pheromones it will have a control over all other members of the colony. So it is very clear that queen is the one which controls the activities of all other members of the colony. Coming to the mouth parts, as I mentioned you already, in mouth parts the first one is labium, which is also called lower lip. It has labial palpi, which are long, slender, segmented to guide sucking tube. Elongated central organ of the proboscis is the glossa, and at the base of the glossae there are two small concealed lobes, that is paraglossae. Glossae is provided with long hairs and a small spoon-shaped lobe called labellum or button at its apex. The side walls of the glossae are inclined downwards. At rest, mouthparts are folded beneath the head. During feeding, they are straightened with labial palpi closely applied to glossa and partly supported by the projections called gallia and lacinia. Glossae is very active while feeding. The liquid food, that is nectar, ascends by means of capillary action into the central channel of the glossae and enters into the space between paraglossae and then into the mouth cavity. So this picture gives you a clear idea about the different types of mouth parts that are there in the honeybee. As I mentioned you earlier, the type of mouth part in honeybees is chewing and lapping type. So as I already mentioned you that there are the following parts that are there in the mouth parts: an upper lip or labrum, which you can make out in the top of the diagram, and it consisting of a pair of maxillae, a pair of mandibles, a hypopharynx or tongue, and then a lower lip, which is also called labellum. sting apparatus. It is a modified ovipositor of a worker bee used as a weapon of offense. It is a modified egg-laying organ. It is found in a chamber at the end of the abdomen from which only the sharp pointed shaft protrudes. It is about 1/8 inch in long. When the sting is not in use, it is retracted within the sting chamber of the abdomen. The shaft is a hollow tube like a hypodermal needle. The tip is barbed so that it sticks in the skin of the victim. The shaft actually has 3 divisions like stylet and 2 lancets. When the sting penetrates the skin, the whole sting apparatus is driven deeper into the skin. In front of the shaft, there is a bulb. There are 2 acid glands and an alkaline gland, the secretion of which are mixed in the poison gland and then passed down into the bulb. During stinging, the contents of the alkaline gland is directly dumped into the poison canal where they mix up with acidic portion. When a honeybee stings, a portion of the sting is left behind. This damages the honeybee to kill. The bulb squeezes out the poison produced by the poison glands. Worker bee stings once in its lifetime because once it stings, it will die. That means it sacrifices its life for the welfare of the colony, after which it dies. While a queen bee stings a number of times in its lifetime, venom means poison. It contains a protein called melillitin and enzymes like proteases, lipases, and amylases. Normally, venom is not so toxic. It may cause allergy, local pain, and swellings. So here is the image showing the different components of a sting apparatus of a honeybee, especially of that of worker bee, because as I mentioned you earlier that this sting apparatus is well developed in case of worker bee only. And as you observe here on the top of this diagram, there will be a poison gland, there will be a poison sac, and on the sides of which there will be an alkaline gland, and at the base of which there will be acidic glands, and it has a shaft stylet, and the stylet is covered by stylet sheath. There will be a bulb where temporarily the poison released will be stored, and as I mentioned you earlier, at the tip of this shaft it has barbs, that is some small needle-like outgrowths which will firmly fix into the skin of the victim. So this is what the different parts of the sting apparatus of a honeybee, and on the left side of this diagram you see the actual photograph of the sting apparatus. So thank you students, thank you for your patient listening. In the next class we'll continue the other contents of this chapter, apiculture. Stay safe, stay home.